have a touchy question again about this, alright? How do you humanly kill and exploit someone?
That is a great question.
Agree or disagree with the sign?
I disagree.
What is it about animals that makes you feel like they shouldn't be abused?
I think living creatures shouldn't be abused.
Yeah, sorry. How do you feel when you watch animals suffer? Or you witness them suffer?
I don't like it.
Yeah. What industries would you say abuse animals?
Most industries that have animals involved. I would say the food industry, probably the entertainment industry. I mean, they have for years, but there's a lot of animal abuse going on in the world.
I like what you said, like in any industry that use animals, you can kind of know that they're exploiting them and so there's going to be abuse. Yeah, right. Would you say you're against animal abuse?
Yes.
Yeah. So I have a touchy question, all right? So would you say that you can truly be against animal abuse if you pay industries to abuse animals? Like the ones that we talked about, for example.
It's hard to separate yourself from the parts of society that are not so pretty. There's definitely a lot of unintentional, it's implied. If you participate in those, and it's implied that you're okay with it, but a lot of it is very. It's hard to separate.
That leads actually in my next question. Since you're against animal abuse, we know which industries abuse animals. What do you think we can do to not support animal abuse then?
Do more research into the companies that you're giving your money to, and try to avoid the ones that are doing the most harm.
Have you ever heard of a way of being that avoids animal products so that we don't support animal abuse?
Yeah, veganism.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So I'm basically here to advocate for that, like the right to not be used as property and to not be abused on the fundamental level, like in slavery. What would kind of prevent you from adopting a vegan life,
I would say I definitely enjoy eating meat and animal products, and there's definitely a lack of accessibility and affordability to veganism, especially within the U.S. Especially for lower income people, it's not as available. But myself personally, I try to shop where I know that the animals are treated better. So a lot of more local stuff is what I tend to go for if I can. But I definitely enjoy eating meat and animal products.
I mean, a lot of people do. I definitely did before I turned vegan. I adopted a plant-based diet. I really loved cheese, for example, things like that. Let's first talk about the taste thing, right? Would you say that sensory pleasure justifies violence?
No.
No. I'm putting you on the spot, so I appreciate you being open. Something that you talked about that a lot of people share concerns about is the affordability. I totally get that. I'm pretty poor myself, actually, and it's totally feasible for me. There's this 2021 study that was done in 150 countries around the world, and they basically figured out that plant-based diets are 30% cheaper than other diets. And that means a whole food plant-based diet. So when we think about a plant-based diet, we usually think about, ultra-processed foods, vegan sausages, things like that. I do still buy those, so that's cool to know. You can still do that even if you have low income. It is cheaper, especially if you turn to lentils, rice. I find that pretty empowering when you don't necessarily know that you can actually do that, Yeah, what do you think is the best benefit of being vegan?
Oh, I think there are a lot of benefits. I actually have a friend who's been vegan for 15 years, a long time. She just decided to when she was a teenager. I think there are a lot of benefits. It cuts out a lot of the unhealthy fats in your diet and can lower your cholesterol. I think there's definitely a lot of health benefits too, as well as your impact on the animals.
Totally. There's only cholesterol in animal foods and things like that. Of course, I'm more advocating for animal rights. Would you say that you could be unhealthy on a plant-based diet if you eat junk food all the time, for example?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, right. So, it kind of depends all diets, right? And something I wanted to touch on that you said, most people, I would say, care about animal welfare, right? And so that's why we turn to these labels that are, humanely raised, things like that. I have a touchy question again. How do you humanely kill and exploit someone?
That is a great question. I don't think that there's necessarily like a way to do it without hurting an animal, but I think there are ways to make animals have better lives while they're here.
Would you say that if someone does not suffer before you kill them, would you say that it's not murder, for example?
No, it still is. Yeah.
It's like kind of like if we don't have to do it, why? You know, do it. Yeah. What do you think you're gonna do moving on from this conversation?
Definitely give me a lot to think about. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I really appreciate you being open-minded because I know this is triggering, all right? And I'm putting you on the spot, and you've been really open-minded, so I appreciate that. And I just want to give you a card with some information. Before you do go vegan, animals will be exported and killed on your behalf, you know? It's important when we're at the store or like when we're doing any activity really to think about the other end of it, right? Thank you so much for talking.
No problem. I've seen you a few times on my way to and from work, so I've been curious about your sign, but I'm glad I stopped to talk to you.
Super. Yeah, awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
I have a cognitive dissonance between dogs and pigs. I feel like they're equally intelligent, and yet one I eat regularly without thinking.
If you could be killed the quickest way, like you described, or not be killed at all, which one would you prefer?
Oh. Well, that one sounds like a trick question.